me in Mother Rabbit's living room. I wanted to film a where did this channel come from video for, probably since I started the channel a couple of months ago. And I've thought about how I wanted to kind of explain everything and maybe answer some questions. And then I realized, you know what, this should just be live because I want it to be kind of a chit chat. If anybody wants to jump in and ask questions as I'm chatting, please do so. I also have some questions from some viewers that I'm gonna answer. And I have to tell you, this is so weird, but I am so nervous right now. Thank you, Meg. I put a little bit of makeup on for this one. I actually put a little bit of makeup on. And yeah, I am really, really nervous, like to the point where I was like, can I do this or should I just cancel? Which is so silly because I don't get nervous on my live cooking videos or things like that. I'm just like, what if I say something stupid? I can't take this back. It's live. I can always not post it in the end, but I just don't believe in that. The whole idea of this channel is real, raw, and just going for it. So here we go. Nerves and all, here we go. All right, so on top of my warm tea that's giving me, or hot tea that's giving me some comfort, and my blanket and my pillow, it's like my little tea table, I have notes and a clipboard. So let's get started. All right, so I want to tell you how this channel began. I will start by saying I knew and still know kind of nothing about YouTube. Like I thought YouTube was, when I used YouTube in the past, it was to look for songs or videos to use for my worship leader job, where I would just link a music video to our song. What am I trying to say? The plan, the set list for the week. So that's basically what I use YouTube for, or like if I had a question about something, like the first time we had rats in our van, don't get me started. I'm YouTubing things like how do you get rid of rats in your van? And so I knew YouTube was like a thing, and I did use it for just random like searches and things like that. But I had no idea that YouTube was like an actual social media community and that people really connected and loved watching other people do their thing, whether it's makeup channels or style or gaming or cooking, whatever. It just kind of like, I just didn't even know about it. So fast forward to 2 months ago, I've been learning a lot. So, okay. So the way this all began is, I did go to culinary school when I was fresh out of college. I'll tell that quick story. So I did not go to college for cooking or anything like that. I went to college in New York City, and then after I graduated and had no idea what I really wanted to do with my life, I was working as a waitress and would just have friends over for little dinner parties and things like that. And I just started cooking, and I just really loved doing it, and my friends loved eating it. So one of my friends one day said, you should go to culinary school. And I was like, oh, huh? Like, that's a thing? And I was like, okay. And it just kind of stuck in my mind. And so I toured a few schools, and then I enrolled and I went to culinary school. I went to the Institute of Culinary Education in Midtown Manhattan, and it was such an amazing experience. I loved every second of it. So awesome. So that was almost 2 decades ago. So it's been a while. I'm not going to go through all the background and everything, and there's so many details, but so I have that cooking background, and part of me always dreamed of having my own cooking show. Of course, I dreamed of Food Network, and even people, my friends and family along the way would say, when are you going to get your own cooking show? And I sing also, so my cousin would be like, you could be the singing chef, or cooking with Colleen, or, I just would get all these like suggestions for cooking show ideas from my friends and family over the past almost 2 decades. And I was like, oh, I love that you would love that, and I would love that too, but Food Network hasn't called me yet, so I can't really do anything about that. And So I just like kind of tucked that away. And then recently I started thinking about doing a blog, a cooking blog. I don't know why it just got kind of like planted in my head and in my heart. Actually, I kind of do know why, and I'll get to that in a second. I'll fast forward in a second. So about 2.5 months ago, I even said to a couple of friends, I'm like, I feel like I want to do a blog or something like that. But I was like, do people still read blogs? Like, is this, I used to have a blog that I would write just my thoughts and feelings and things about when we were foster parents, and I would write about that, and I loved writing. Actually, back in the day before blogs were like really even a thing, and I was like fresh out of culinary school, I was like, I really would love to write a cookbook one day that's like half recipes and half just like memoir type of material, like about my life and about the stories behind the recipes and the cooking. And blogs probably existed, but I didn't even know about them. So I was like, I feel like I, in a way, had the original idea for blogs. It's not true, but I had something going on in my head. So anyway, a couple months ago, I'm thinking I would love to do a blog or something. But I'm just like, for some reason, I'm not feeling like that is just where I want to go with it. But it was just kind of swimming around in my head. Then, okay. I have my notes because this story is all over the place and I don't want to confuse anybody. All right, so meanwhile, I thought this was a totally separate thing in my life. Little did I know this was like all lining up. Meanwhile, I was reading a book by Chip Gaines called No Pain, No Gains, and I highly recommend it. My cousin sent me this book. My cousin Rhiannon and I, we love the Gaines family, and we especially love how Chip writes. So when I get a Magnolia Journal magazine, the first thing I do is go to the back of the magazine and I find Chip's little article at the end, because just the way he writes, it just makes me feel peaceful. He's so friendly. I love their book, The Magnolia Story. Like, I just love their family and their writing. So my cousin recently, or several months ago, said she was sending me this book, No Pain, No Gains. I had no idea what it was about. And so I started reading it. And to be honest, as I was about halfway through it, I started getting depressed because I was like, this is so great for you, Chip. I'm so glad you accomplished all your dreams, and I know you worked hard to get there. And the book is so encouraging to like go after your dreams, and just kind of how to build that network of people in your life, those authentic relationships that aren't like, not the relationships of like business networking, like, hey, what can I get out of this relationship? But just really building those authentic relationships of people who will naturally support you and all of that you do in all of your life. Very, very encouraging, but also there was definitely a message of like, so go get it, go chase after your dreams. And even though I'm not old, sometimes I feel a little bit past the point of like having all these dreams. I have 4 kids. Between the two of us, we have 3 jobs. So it's not like I can just go run out with all of my extra time and resources and dream big and chase after them and reach for the stars and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, this must be a great book for people in their early 20s who are just really ready to go for their dreams. And I'm like, I had like a moment from Tangled where the guy's like, your dream stinks. I was talking to her. Because I just felt like all my dreams that I've ever dreamed, I dreamed a dream in time gone by. All the dreams I've ever dreamed, even when I chased after them, they didn't really come to fruition. I could go on a list. I've done like little business ventures, music classes for little kids that just kind of, I couldn't continue. Little things, I won't go into all of them, but like little things that I thought, hey, this could be really successful. Hey, I'm actually kind of good at this. Like, I think I'm gifted in this area. Like, I could do this. And then it just didn't work out. And I'm like, man, my dreams stink. Not really, but I can get a little, I don't know, discouraged with that kind of thing where if I don't see success, then I give up. So Chip is encouraging his readers to accomplish their dreams. And I'm like, that's cute, Chip, but I need to put this book down for a little while because I'm just not really feeling like it totally applies to me. So that's what I did. I totally had intentions of finishing it. I just wasn't like, eager to continue and learn all of the things. So then, meanwhile, so I'm not dreaming. I'm thinking about starting this blog. I'm reading this book by Chip Gaines. I have no idea that there's any connection between the two. I don't know why. This is like part of my life, and I'm not connecting the two at all. So then, one day, I was chatting with a friend. We were going to her daughter's birthday party that night. And she had a little cupcake emergency. The person who was supposed to make cupcakes for the party got sick. And so she's like, I'm gonna just do it. And she had so many other things to do. And I was like, let me just make the cupcakes, no big deal. And she's like, really? Thank you so much. I'm like, absolutely. So I get in the kitchen, I've got Camden with me, and I'm like, Camden, we're gonna make cupcakes. And so of course I go to Pinterest, and I'm like, I wanna make them from scratch and make them really nice. So I'm just looking at just some Pinterest ideas for cupcakes and everything. And so as soon as I get on Pinterest, Pinterest is gonna give me the cupcake recipes, but it's also gonna give me other things that have nothing to do with an actual cupcake recipe, but maybe just cupcakes in general. So I'm scrolling through these recipes, and I come across this picture by this artist called Susan Wheeler. Her name's Susan Wheeler. Still haven't figured out how to contact this beautiful artist. If you know her, tell her I'm looking for her. So I am looking at this picture going, this is me and Camden. Like, this is me. So the picture is called Tea and Cupcakes in Mother Rabbit's Kitchen, or Cupcakes and Tea. I can't remember. Is it Tea and Cupcakes? I think it's Tea and Cupcakes in Mother Rabbit's Kitchen. And it just like, it almost made me cry because I'm just like, this is us. This is what I do with my kids, especially Camden, because the other three are at school most of the day. And we're just in the kitchen making messes. We are tasting things. We are just living our best life in the kitchen. And I have like all these like pictures of just, oh my gosh, the fun times we're having. And I'm looking at this picture of this mother rabbit and baby rabbit, and they're in the kitchen, this adorable like cottage kitchen that like kind of looks like mine. And I'm like, this is us. And I just loved it so much that I completely forgot about making the cupcakes at that point. And I'm like, I have to go upstairs and print out this picture. I just printed it out, color ink in a regular printer. I'm like, I'm gonna frame this and I'm putting this in my kitchen because this is us. I'm still not clicking anything about a cooking show or anything like that. I'm just like, this is me. This is me and my kids. This is it just became so special to me. And I went upstairs, printed out this picture. I got out some old frames that had some old school pictures from my kids in them, popped out those pictures, sorry kids, and put in this, and it even like didn't even really fit because it was like a regular piece of paper and I had to cut it, and then I'm like drawing around it with colored pencil to make like a little design. It actually came out really cute. I'll show it to you another time. And it's on my kitchen wall. I'm not getting up right now. I'm really cozy. So I put it on the wall in the kitchen and I'm like, oh, this is us. This is so great. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, the cupcakes. I still have to make cupcakes for my friend's daughter's birthday. So I got back on task. I made the cupcakes. They came out really pretty. Everybody loved them. It was great. And that was that. Still not making any connection with anything. Then, maybe a week later, I'm still thinking about the blog and do I want to do something? Am I able to do something? Is it possible to be successful? Will anybody care? And one Saturday morning, we were doing what we always do, which is make a big breakfast. And we just sit as a family and have a tea party. Everybody gets a teacup and we either make pancakes or, anything. We'll make Belgian waffles. We will make baked French toast. We will make crumb cake or muffins or anything that's basically like a dessert that you serve for breakfast, and cinnamon rolls and just all those really yummy things. We just sit down and eat, and it's pretty much like brunch. It's like our breakfast and our lunch together. So we were doing our Saturday morning breakfast thing. And I have my girls in the kitchen with me, and I'm just teaching them how to make these pancakes. I'm really going into detail about how to measure flour, things that I've done with them 1,000 times before, but they have a really hard time actually taking it in for good. So we're going over the little things, and I'm teaching them, and then even and now we're pouring the pancake batter in the pan. And of course my girls are, what kids and probably some adults do, they take the pancake batter and they're pouring it and they're making a circular motion. And I told them, I said, hun, no, when you pour pancake batter, you pick a spot and you pour it, and that's your center, and you just don't move it, and it will naturally make that perfect circle. And so I'm teaching them that, and then we're just being so silly and coming up with all of these ridiculous names for the pancakes that did not come out in a circular shape. I even kind of messed up because I got my center of the circle too close to the edge of my rectangular griddle pan, and it kind of made half circle, half square. So I called that one a squircle. And so the kids are laughing. And then, when they're pouring their pancakes and they're kind of making these ridiculous knot shapes. And we're making up names oh, that one's a scoogly boot and stuff like that. And they're giggling and stuff. And we're just having a ball in the kitchen. And I'm it was like a light bulb went off. And Andrew walks in the room, and I went, babe, this is the cooking show. This is what I want to do. I want to just cook with the kids. I want to document it. I want to make memories. I want to have these memories forever. And I also want to share it with people and have them join us, their kids, in the kitchen, through social media, through YouTube or whatever. But I want them to be a part of it. And I want to teach them too. I have a lot to teach about cooking, so I can teach, we can have fun. I will be with my kids. It's not like I'm taking on this venture that I have to take time away from my kids. It is the best of all worlds. Let's do this. This is it. So we were so excited about this. That day, I filmed my first 2 videos. I didn't get out the camera to finish off those pancakes. We were pretty much done. And then we started just talking about, what do we want this to look like? How much time do we want to put into this? And of course, my first thought was I'm not putting any extra time into this. I'm not making this a thing that's going to take me away from my family. We're just going to film it as is. We're going to throw it up on YouTube. Now, of course, then I realized videos generally need some editing, especially when there are kids involved. For no other reason, it gets boring after a while when you're watching a child measure their 4th cup of flour, and it's and you're just come on, get on with it. So I don't want to make everybody watch that. Sometimes if you watch my videos, I'll do a fast motion of whatever we're doing, just to kind of speed through the less interesting parts. And I try to include all of the chaos. There are some things that I have to edit out where I'm not my best self, where it's more than just the cute little chaos. It's the 1, 2, 3, you're gonna get a consequence. It's getting real kind of thing. Hey, there might be some editing there, but that's just what we have to do to, it's just what we have to do. Anyway, so we filmed our first video that day. It was the copycat Chick-fil-A cookies, and I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I was so excited about doing this, and I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna do this recipe. And I was thinking, shoot, I have done copycat Chick-fil-A cookies a few times before, and they've come out great, but they haven't come out exactly like Chick-fil-A cookies. And I'm I don't care. I'm just doing this. So I looked at the recipe that I had used before, and I'm I think I know what to do. And I just started rewriting this recipe, changing the measurements, changing the process a little bit. And I'm just gonna see how this comes out. And we had so much fun filming. And I'm not lying when I say, by the grace of God, these copycat Chick-fil-A cookies came out exactly like the real Chick-fil-A cookies. So for a first video where I really had no idea what I was doing or what would happen, I was really happy with how it came out. That night, after the kids, some of the kids went to bed and some of the kids were out. They were doing they were in a production. The girls were in a production, so they were out doing their second production. Andrew was with them, and then I had made this homemade ranch dressing, and I was I'm gonna film this. I'm gonna film everything. And so I made this homemade ranch dressing, and that's my other, I think it's called Quick and Easy or Cheap and Quick, something like that, ranch dressing, semi-homemade ranch dressing. So I have like the 2-minute video for that. And that just got the ball rolling. This was less than 2 months ago. And I have what I'm doing right now is officially my 100th video. So 100 videos in less than 2 months. I'm really excited about that. Not all of them are long videos. A lot of them are shorts, which are so easy to do. I can do them in, depending on what I'm making and what I'm filming, I can do it in minutes. So that's really cool. I'm enjoying being able to get a lot of videos up and not feel like it takes a long time to get content on the channel. So all of that to say, that is how things got started. Oh, so I should finish it by saying this. I can't remember exactly when it hit me, but after we filmed our first couple of videos, I had a moment where I went, oh my gosh, Chip Gaines, you sly dog. I didn't think this book was for me, but you were totally helping me dream, and I didn't even know it. And all of a sudden, I'm like chasing after this dream that I'm still chasing after and having a great time doing it. And I had no idea this book was encouraging me that whole time. So I picked the book back up and I'm like, I've got to finish this. And I will tell you this is so crazy. Over these past 2 months, there have been times of excitement and, ooh, this is happening, we're moving and shaking, people are loving it. And there have been times of, do people really care? Like, is this going anywhere? Is this going to be successful? Am I wasting my time? And every time I had those moments, 2 people encouraged me. Number 1, my husband, who is my biggest supporter, except for my mom, she's also a big supporter too. But my biggest, live in my immediate family supporter, is my husband. So he was always encouraging me, like, you have to just keep going. It's gonna be big. Like, you just stick it out. You're doing great. And then also my buddy, who I have never met, really encouraged me. I would feel really discouraged and I would tell Andrew, like, okay, well, because I'm such a butt. I'm like, well, I don't have this number of subscribers by this time, then I'm not doing this anymore. Sorry, I'm just being honest. I am such a butt. So I'm like, well, if I don't, get this, then I'm just gonna stop because I hate the feeling of failure and I don't want to feel like I've put so much into something that, and it's happened before. It's happened before. So I don't want to repeat those kind of failure feelings in my life. So anyway, Andrew would encourage me, but he would kind of like, oh, okay, hon, yeah, we can set that goal. But yeah, just keep going. And then I would just be like, and then open my book and I'd just read. And I'd be like, something specific that Chip says in a chapter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how is this exactly what I needed to read right now? So encouraging, such a cool way. And I say Chip Gaines and my husband. Now I'm going to give all the glory to God because I truly believe that whether this turns out to be an amazing success and I'm like the next big YouTuber, it's not really my goal, but whether this turns out to be successful and people like it and watch it, or this is just a project that taught me a lot of lessons, I am just trusting God through this process. And I do believe that He is kind of guiding and giving me these little winks and nudges along the way. Like, God can speak to you through a Chip Gaines book. He speaks to us through His word, which is also amazing encouragement, but also He can use all of the things around us to really encourage us and to speak to us and say, keep going. I'm with you. So all glory to God. So that is how this whole thing happened. Is there anything else I want to say about that? I don't think so. Now you know the story of Mother Rabbit's Kitchen and how she got her name. So here are some questions from all you people out there who have been watching. Thank you, by the way, for watching. I'm loving getting to know some of you better and just kind of do this with you guys. Thank you for all your comments and all my subscribers. I love you. I appreciate you. You are helping me just move forward and continue this crazy journey. So one of the first questions I got, which I love this question because I have like a kind of not crazy, I have an answer for it. Once one person said, do you homeschool? And I love this question because many female YouTubers, when they are, whether they're cooking or just sharing life, a lot of them are homeschoolers. And I think that's amazing. I have some very close friends who are homeschool moms. God bless you if you are a homeschool mom. I don't know how you do it. And this is coming from a former teacher. I taught middle school for 6 years before I had kids. And so I can teach a classroom of middle schoolers all day. Barely, I stress, oh my gosh. But teaching my own children day in, day out and not having a break, God bless all of you that do it because I'm just not made for it. If I had to, I would and I could, but I'm so thankful that we have the most amazing school. Like literally, like it's number one school, Tampa Bay. Like it's amazing. It is the best school. It's Dayspring Academy in Port Richey area in Pasco County. So when I taught middle school, that's where I taught. I taught at Dayspring Academy. And at that time, when I was teaching, they didn't have a high school yet, and they didn't have a preschool. And I just remember thinking like, gosh, I hope by the time I have kids, they have all of that. And lo and behold, they do. So now my third child, my first son, my 5-year-old, just graduated VPK at Little Scholars Dayspring Academy, and my girls just finished 2nd and 3rd grade, so they're going into 3rd and 4th at the elementary school, and Camden's gonna be home with me for another couple of years, and we are just so thankful for that school. It is a charter school, and I can't say enough amazing things about it, but I will tell you this. I did have a little, and we all did have a little bit of our own homeschooling experience. Even if you were not a homeschool mom, you had to become one during COVID. And I was so thankful that Dayspring didn't just say, okay, here's like, here are some books and a packet, and like, this is what you have to accomplish by the end of the year. They didn't just record a few videos and say, here's some teaching instruction, blah, blah, blah. They actually, in a flash, like, I mean, we know how quickly this all happened. It was like, all of a sudden it was like, schools are closed. And then, I don't know how, but Dayspring just went, okay, we will do a live school online. They just created this live online school, a full day, including after school, not camps, after school clubs, including after school clubs like dance and art and things like that. And the teachers would actually live after school do this and provide this for our kids. I could cry thinking about what a blessing this was, that my kids had the interaction with their teachers and the students, even though it was via Zoom. It was such a blessing that they could continue that live interaction and have those relationships. I remember when Jaina was finishing her year and she cried her eyes out because she was gonna miss her teacher so much. And I was like, that's amazing that she was able to continue to build that bond with her teacher to the end where she it wasn't like, oh, well, it was just a computer, I'll just shut it off now. It was like, she was so bonded, and I'm just, so thank you, Dayspring, amazing. The tricky part was, how old were my kids during this COVID time? Well, I had 4 children. My oldest was in 1st grade. My youngest was 4 months old. So I had a 1st grader and a kindergartner. They were my only kids in school, and they had to be on a laptop the entire school day. So figuring out or helping your child how to figure out how to be on a laptop for the first time and go to school live with all the technical difficulties and all the things, that was challenging. Not to mention I was nursing my 4-month-old baby, so I would sometimes be on with them live, but I would be like half off, if you know what I mean, because I was nursing, and oh my gosh, it was so crazy. Not to mention I had my 3rd child, my 3-year-old Andy. And if you know my son, you know he does not lack energy at any point during the day or night. And to have a 3-year-old that you have to keep in the house because I couldn't even take him for a walk because we had to be online all day. Man, that was tricky. So no, I don't homeschool my kids. I did get a partial glimpse of what it was like. It was also COVID homeschool. It wasn't a total homeschool. But yeah, all this to say, so thankful for the wonderful school that my kids go to. All of that. That was question 1. All right, I'm going to try to go through these kind of quick. All right. Question 2. How do you stay so calm cooking with 4? Well, as I mentioned earlier, some of my videos, well, a lot of my videos, unless I'm live, they are edited. I try to include, especially in that like little beginning trailer before we actually get to the cooking, I try to just save all those clips of gold where people are screaming, I'm about to lose it, things are spilling, all the ridiculous like outtakes that we don't really want to expose in our real life scenarios. Like we want to be like, welcome to my wonderful kitchen where it's clean all the time, everything comes out just the way it should, and my kids are just little angels all the time. Not reality, okay? Even the channels that you watch, even the social media feeds that you see where you're just like, oh my gosh, they're kids. They just look so happy all the time. They have these wonderful family dinners. Guys, it is not like that. I cook with my kids. It is chaos most of the time, and not just cute chaos. It is frustrating chaos a lot of the time. Dinners in our house, we try to sit down as a family and have dinner every night. Some nights I just look at my husband and say, why do we even do this? Because by the time I serve everybody and sit down and everybody's like, well, I don't want this and this is touching that and can I have more milk? And before I even like lift up my fork and I'm like, do you see that I haven't even taken my first bite yet? All this to say that I don't stay calm with 4. I do my best. I think my patience has grown over the years, but it is never a word that I would use to describe me. I wouldn't say I'm a patient person in general. I do have to work on it. The more kids you have, the more practice you have with patience, you get a little bit better at it, but it's never been my strong suit. So there is some editing, like there have been some things where I'm like, I ask Andrew, I'm like, should I leave this in? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, I want to be real, but this is like borderline. I'm like yelling. I don't yell. Everything's perfect in my house. No, I yell sometimes. It's not good, but yeah, it happens. Anyway, so that's how I stay calm. I don't. And I try to, the camera helps also. I said this on a live video recently that when we were foster parents and we had lots of little kids in our home at once, sometimes I would go Facebook Live just because I knew my patience was wearing thin and I didn't even want to get to the point where I would start yelling and just putting everybody in timeout. And so I would just throw the camera on and I'd be like, hey, nothing going on here, just hang out because I need like to feel like somebody's watching. So, number 3, who helps clean up? That's a good question. I probably do most of the cleaning up. In terms of what me and my husband take on and share as far as like household chores go, he is a very, very helpful partner. So he helps with dishes a lot. He is amazing at laundry. Laundry is my least favorite thing to do. I love throwing it in the wash. I don't mind even throwing it in the dryer, but the idea of taking it out and finding a spot to put it away in the closet or the drawers, it just like, I don't have space for this in my life right now. Andrew, for some reason, has no problem with it. So he's really good at putting laundry, like even my laundry. I'll be like, my laundry's in the dryer, can you? And he knows that I do a lot of the other stuff. Like he never has to clean a toilet. I clean all the toilets. Actually, my girls clean toilets now. If you haven't seen that video, go watch the Teach Your Kids to Clean the Bathroom video. That's a really fun one. So that's cool. So as the kids are getting older, they're helping clean up more. The older kids, they like to do the dishes, but it's actually not helpful. It's, more work than it's worth at this point. The girls do their own laundry completely from start to finish, which is amazing. So yeah, I do most of the cleaning, but We have 3 jobs between the 2 of us. Andrew has 2 of them, and I have a part-time job. So I'm home a lot more than he is, so I do most of the cleaning. He's a vacuumer though. He loves to vacuum. How do you manage your time efficiently so you can make homemade food so often? So the first thing I want to say is I do make homemade food a lot, but I don't make homemade food all the time. And that's just, I make homemade food as often as I can. There are times when I go to make something homemade and I realize after I've done it that it was more stressful and I'm like crankier with the family because I'm trying to make this amazing homemade dinner or homemade whatever. And it's just not even going well. And it's like, you know what? This is more work than it's worth. So sometimes, and in terms of like how expensive things can be sometimes, I'm a big BOGO girl. So when there are frozen pizzas, pretty much any brand, but there are some brands that are like the really cheap ones that I just don't get because they're gross. It's like, this isn't really meat. But there are some really good frozen pizza brands. When they're BOGO or on sale for a really good price, I throw them in the freezer. We'll eat that on a Sunday after church. So yes, I make pizza dough and all that stuff, but like, I don't always have time to make everything from scratch. There are YouTubers out there that say, whether they do it or not, that they make all 3 meals from scratch every day. God bless you. And they homeschool their kids. God bless you. You're amazing. It's just not me. I make as much homemade food as I can, and the rest is semi-homemade or a frozen pizza. We don't eat out a lot. We don't order takeout a lot because of how expensive it is. But we do when we need to. We're not against it. It's really expensive. So I try to make stuff at home. What is your favorite recipe? So from all of the recipes that I have on there so far, I thought about this question. I'm like, it is really hard for me to choose a favorite recipe. When I put a recipe on there, it's because it's one of my favorites and I really, really love these meals. It's kind of embarrassing because like when I cook my own food, I'm like a little bit embarrassing like eating it because I'll literally like eat and be like, oh my gosh, this is so good, like in front of people. It's like I should probably keep quiet and like let other people compliment it if they want to instead of complimenting my own food. But I'm sorry, like when it's good, it's good. One of my favorite recipes that I can think of on the channel right now is my meatball recipe. So good. Go try it. My potato salad recipe is like out of this world. The Chick-fil-A cookie recipe is so good. There's another cookie recipe on there that is my coconut thumbprint cookies, coconut shortbread thumbprint cookies that are just outrageous. I'm trying to think of other recipes that I have on there, like more of like the dinner recipes or something. What else do I have on there? I don't remember. Do you guys know? If it's on the channel, it's one of my favorites. Let's see. Any tricks for keeping kids interested in cooking? I just kind of let them be involved when they want to be involved. If I'm about to film, I'll tell them, I'll say, I'm about to make a video. Do you want to cook with me? Most of the time they'll say yes. And sometimes they'll be like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to. But they all, just since they were really, really little, like even Camden is only 2 and he gets out his stool. He calls it a duo. Every time he sees me in the kitchen, he's already in the pantry, like getting his stool, coming up to the counter. I want to stir it. I want to taste it. And it's like, I just came in to like get a sip of water. It's like I might not even be cooking and he's like ready to go. But it's so fun when the kids want to come in, want to be a part of it. It is a lot of work. Yes, it would be so much easier if I cooked it myself. Yes, it would be easier if there were no eggshells that I had to pick out or no spilled eggs all over the counter and the floor that I have to clean up before it gets sticky. It just is what it is, and it's worth the mess because of the memories. Let's see. Do you always double baking recipes? When I don't double my baking recipes, I triple or quadruple them. I'm such a bake and cook in bulk girl, not just because we have a big family, but because when I cook, I want it to last. I don't want, like if I'm making meatballs or if I'm making anything. Why can't I think of anything else that I make? I'm blanking when I'm cooking meat sauce, which I haven't put on there yet. When anything that I'm cooking, I don't just want it one night. Neither do my kids. Like we want it the next night at least. And then usually I'll have doubled or tripled the recipe and I'll have some in the freezer so I can pop it out on an easy night. That's the other way. Going back to the other question, how do you make like time to make homemade food so often? A huge trick for making homemade food really often is to double, triple, or whatever the recipe and eat whatever you want that week, whether it's 2 days in a row, but also freeze some of it so that you can have homemade food without the prep and all of the work and without even having to go to the grocery store. I'm gonna upload, or I'm gonna make meatloaf soon. My buttermilk meatloaf is, oh my gosh, it's so good. And it makes like 3 huge meatloaves. So I make one to eat fresh and then the leftovers for the next night. And then I have 2 other whole meatloaves that I can just grab out of the freezer when I want, because it's a lot of work. Like you have all that prep. I put a lot of fresh ingredients in my meatloaf. It's a huge bowl. So it's like, do it one time and it will last 3 huge dinners. And like recipes that I love to like quadruple, like sometimes I'll quadruple like a biscuit recipe, my rosemary buttermilk biscuits, because it's like those freeze really well, keep them, eat them forever. Who is the best helper and who is the trickiest? That one's probably easy to answer just because it's pretty much an age thing. My best helpers are my girls. It's Skylar's birthday today. She is 8 years old today, and she and Andy and Jana are at the pool with my mom, who's in town. Camden is sleeping right now. That's why I'm alone and can kind of chat in peace. But so my girls, who are 8 today and 9 is my oldest, they're probably my biggest helpers because they're older and they can do more. My trickiest helper is definitely Camden, because all he wants to do is stick his entire hand into everything. It doesn't matter if it's like something that you want to taste raw or like meatball mix, you know. He just, I want to taste it, grabbing it out, and I like can't even turn around because he's got a fistful of something. He's throwing it in his mouth. So he is my trickiest, but he loves it so much. He's always getting out his duo. All right, last question. What is your favorite part? It's a kind of a 2-part question. What is your favorite part of this project, and what is your least favorite part of this project? My favorite part of this project is getting to do what we naturally do and just exploring new recipes, making friends through this. Okay, I know that was a favorite. I'm like listing a bunch of things, but there are so many things that I'm really enjoying about this process. I'm learning so much. I'm creating new recipes. The kids are having so much fun, and we're just kind of doing it naturally as a family. My least favorite part of this project is this. Now let's get real here. As much as I hate to admit it, I get very caught up in the success of it and how many people are watching and how many subscribers do I have now, and just getting into that like almost mechanical checking to see it, like constantly. I stopped recently. I told myself enough is enough. Like it's almost like a watched pot never boils. Well, a watched YouTube channel never grows. So I have decided like I'm gonna stop watching every day to see, or every hour, because the YouTube analytics have like how many hits your videos have over the last hour, over the last 48 hours. They have such thorough analysis that's really cool when you need to know, but when it's like it sucks the joy out of it, because then I'm just focused so much on what other people want to see and what other people think of this than what we're actually doing. Like the whole vision for this channel was to be ourselves, to have fun in the kitchen, to teach how to cook, make awesome food and recipes, and have fun with it and live our lives while we're doing this, and not like spend so much time getting on my phone and checking, well, who's liking that? It's just like, why do we do that to ourselves? So that is my least favorite part, because it is a part that I have to really fight in myself. And just tell myself, like, it doesn't matter. My success doesn't hang on how many subscribers I have. It doesn't hang on how many views I have on my videos. My success really lies on, what did I learn and did we have fun? And also how much money we made. No, I'm just kidding. I don't make any money right now because I haven't monetized, and who knows if that'll ever happen. But it really is, how much did I learn and how much fun did we have? So that is how I'm basing my success. So if you ever catch me trying to focus on the numbers and the views and stuff like that, just slap me, because it's not important. What's important is learning and having fun. So that is it for today. I have very much enjoyed chatting with you, and I hope we get to do it again soon. This is officially my 100th video. If you have any last questions for me, shoot them over to me right now. It'll pop up. I can answer it real quick while I take my last sip of tea. But yeah, I hope I've answered lots of questions. I hope this has allowed you guys to get to know me a little bit more, and I hope you continue to watch so that we can keep making fun recipes and messes in the kitchen together. Okay, got some crickets. So no more questions. We're all good. That means I've answered everything, and we'll do this again soon. You know what's also really cool? Sorry, I'm just gonna keep talking. For a while, I was recording so much, and I was just like, well, I'm making this, so I'll record it, and I'm making this, so I'll film it. And I had so much content on my phone that I was getting overwhelmed with, like, I gotta edit, because I have so much that I want to put on. That's why I have, 100 videos on my channel, because I'm bursting with content, which is a good thing. But it was getting like overwhelming, because I was like almost like churning out more than I could really manage. And so I finally have I have caught up with all of my videos. I have no videos that I need to edit right now, which is really cool, because on one hand, it's like a little scary. It's like, well, I don't have anything else. Like, I need to make another video. And it's like, well, actually I don't. I can just wait until the next time I'm throwing out one of my recipes and, in my kitchen with my kids. I'll throw on the camera, we'll record it, and then I'll put it on, and I won't overwhelm myself with too many video recipes at once. Let's just take this a little more naturally. Hopefully I can slow down a little bit. 100 videos in less than 2 months is a lot. So I'm gonna try to slow it down. I will keep putting videos up. I'm gonna keep putting shorts up all the time. I'm gonna try to put at least 2 long form video recipes, or just videos in general, up on the channel a week. And then we'll just kind of keep it going from there. So thank you again for hanging out. And please, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and keep watching. Love you guys. Bye.